Hey, I'm Alex, and welcome. Today, we're basically becoming detectives. We're going to travel back millions of years, all to answer a question that affects every one of us right now. What is the absolute best fuel for our bodies? What are we actually built to run on? All right, let's get into it.
So our investigation kicks off with a real head-scratcher. I'm talking about the human brain. This thing, it's just not normal in the animal kingdom. It is huge, it's powerful, and it is incredibly expensive. I mean, it burns through something like 20% of our daily calories. Think about it. Compared to our primate cousins, it's like we've got a supercar engine and they're driving sedans. So the big question is, how on earth did we ever afford these things?
And this is where it gets really interesting. It turns out we made a trade, a huge evolutionary trade-off. To get that big, powerful brain, something else had to shrink. Just look at the numbers here. Our brains are more than 3 times bigger than a chimp's, but our guts, specifically our colon, way smaller. And that's the part you really need for digesting lots of tough, fibrous plants. Scientists call this the expensive tissue hypothesis. We basically swapped our gut for our brain. But here's the catch. A trade like that only works if you can find a brand new, supercharged fuel source, something way more efficient than just munching on leaves all day.
Okay, so for our first section, let's jump in the time machine and see exactly how this incredible bargain was made.
This timeline really lays it all out. So you can see that over 3 million years ago, our ancestors started dabbling in meat. But the real aha moment, the real game changer, happened around 2.6 million years ago. Suddenly we see a huge jump in eating large animals. And what else pops up at the same time? Stone tools. And we weren't just using them to scrape a bit of meat off the bone. No, we were cracking those bones open for the marrow, getting into skulls for the brain tissue. I'm talking about the most energy-dense, calorie-rich stuff you can possibly find. That was the rocket fuel. That's what paid for our bigger brain.
So, okay, that's the why from our evolutionary past. It makes sense. But what does that mean for us right here, right now? How does our biology actually work today? Let's jump into section 2 and take a look at how our bodies deal with different kinds of protein.
You know, it's so easy to just hear the word protein and think it's all the same stuff. But trust me, our bodies know the difference. Animal proteins, for example, are what scientists call complete. And that's a big deal. It means they have every single essential amino acid, the building blocks our bodies can't make on their own, all wrapped up in one neat little package. Plus, they're just easier for us to break down and use. Plant proteins, they're often missing a piece or two of the puzzle and can be a bit trickier for our gut to handle.
Let's dig into one of those hurdles, a concept called bioavailability. And this is super important. It basically means it's not about what you eat, it's about what you can actually use. Think of it this way. The nutrients in plants are kind of locked away in a tiny, microscopic safe made of tough cell walls. Our bodies have to work a lot harder to crack that safe and get the goods inside.
So what does that look like in actual numbers? Well, when you eat animal protein, your body is just incredibly efficient. It absorbs something like 90 to 95% of it. That's a fantastic return on investment, right?
But now, let's look at most plant proteins. That number drops. We're talking more in the range of 75 to 80%. Now you might think, what's 15%? But over days, weeks, and years, that gap really adds up. It just means you have to be a bit more strategic to get the same bang for your buck.
I love this Lego analogy. It just makes so much sense. Think of amino acids as all the different types of Lego bricks. To build anything cool, like a car or a house, you need all the right pieces, right? Well, animal protein is like getting a brand new Lego kit with every single piece you need, right there in the box. With plant proteins, it's more like having a big bin of random Legos. You might have to hunt around and combine different sources, say beans and rice, just to find all the pieces to complete your set. And one of those key pieces, a really important one, is called leucine. It's basically the master switch that tells your muscles, okay, time to build and repair.
All right, so that's the physical construction part. But what about the command center, the brain? In section 3, we're going to explore how all this might affect our thinking.
So our brains are divas. They are super demanding, and they need a very specific set of micronutrients to perform at their best. We're talking about things like iron, which is all about getting oxygen where it needs to go, zinc, which literally helps you form new memories by building neural pathways, and vitamin B12. Think of it like the plastic coating on an electrical wire. It insulates your nerves so the signals travel fast and clean. Now, sure, you can get these from plants, but they are often way more abundant and, crucially, in a much more ready-to-use form in animal foods.
Let's zoom in on just one of these, tyrosine. You might not have heard of it, but you've definitely heard of what it becomes. Tyrosine is the raw material your brain uses to make dopamine. And dopamine, well, that's the feeling of motivation, of focus, of let's get this done. And the science is pretty clear here. Having enough tyrosine on board can help you stay sharp and think clearly, especially when life gets stressful.
Okay, so given that the brain needs all this specific fuel, it's only natural that researchers would start to look for links between what we eat and how we feel. And here's an example. A pretty big study from 2023 looked at over 14,000 people in Brazil, and what they found was a correlation. After they accounted for things like income and lifestyle, they saw that vegetarians in the study reported having depressive episodes about twice as often. But, and this is a huge but, this is where being a good investigator gets really, really important. Because we always have to remember, correlation is not causation. It's the golden rule of science, right? So we have to ask the tough question. Does the diet maybe contribute to the mood issue? Or is it the other way around? Could people who are already struggling with their mental health be more drawn to making big changes in their lives, like adopting a new diet? The honest answer is, we don't know for sure. The jury is still out.
All right, let's shift gears a bit, because it's not just about building blocks and brain chemicals. The food we eat also powers your body's electrical grid. Yes, you heard me right. You are basically a walking, talking electrical system. Every single thought, every blink, every heartbeat, it's all driven by electricity.
And what makes that grid work? Electrolytes. You hear the term all the time in sports drinks, but what are they? They're just minerals from our food, things like sodium, potassium, magnesium, that carry an electrical charge when they're in water. They are, quite literally, what allows electricity to flow through your body. Let me put it as simply as I can. No electrolytes means no electricity. No electricity means no muscle movement, no brain signals, no heartbeat. I mean, it's that fundamental. It's life. So check this out. This is that electrical dance happening in your muscles. Let's say you want to make a fist. Your brain shoots down a signal. Boom. Tiny gates on your muscle cells fly open and sodium rushes in. That's the spark that makes the muscle contract. Then, to relax, other gates open and potassium rushes out. And magnesium? It's like the stage crew, coming in to reset everything so you're ready for the very next movement. It's this incredible, constant, high-speed exchange of charged particles. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot. Evolution, biology, even electricity. So for our final section, let's get practical. How do we take all this information and actually use it in the real world? In the supermarket aisle, which can be a super confusing place. And look, the truth is the science shows there are clear benefits to a bunch of different ways of eating. You've got well-thought-out plant-based diets, which research consistently links to things like a lower risk of heart disease. But then you've got omnivorous diets with lean meat, which are really, really good for holding on to muscle and getting all those brain-boosting nutrients we talked about. This makes you wonder, what if we're arguing about the wrong thing? What if the real fight isn't animal versus plant? A lot of scientists are now pointing the finger at something else entirely. Nutrient-poor, ultra-processed junk. And the thing is, that stuff can be bad for you whether its main ingredient started life in a field or on a farm. And that completely reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? Maybe the goal shouldn't be to join Team Plant or Team Animal. Maybe it's about focusing on the quality of our food and just making sure we're giving our bodies that complete set of Lego blocks, the nutrients that millions of years of evolution have wired us to use. So, in the end, maybe this whole investigation wasn't about finding a single good or bad food. Maybe it's about understanding the incredible machine you get to live in every single day. So, now that you know a little more about your body's evolutionary blueprint, how are you going to choose to fuel it? Thanks for joining me.